In this podcast episode, Joe Rogan welcomes NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers. The two discuss various topics, from the impact of nicotine to the complexities of modern politics, the state of comedy, and the implications of health and wellness in society. The conversation begins with a lighthearted discussion about nicotine, particularly focusing on the use of nicotine pouches. Both Rogan and Rodgers express their thoughts on how these products have evolved over time, noting that they are now more accessible and less harmful than traditional tobacco products. Rodgers mentions that he enjoys using nicotine pouches, especially during his training sessions, as they provide a mild boost without the harshness associated with smoking. Rogan brings up recent studies suggesting that nicotine may have health benefits, sparking a debate about the historical stigma surrounding it. They ponder the origins of this stigma and how societal perceptions of nicotine have shifted over the years. The discussion highlights the complexities of nicotine use, emphasizing that while it can be beneficial in moderation, the delivery methods and societal attitudes towards it have often overshadowed its potential advantages. As the conversation progresses, Rogan and Rodgers delve into the controversial world of smokeless tobacco, particularly focusing on brands like Kodiak and Grizzly. They discuss the rumors surrounding these products, including the infamous claim that some contain harmful substances like fiberglass. Rogan humorously apologizes to the companies for spreading misinformation, while Rodgers reflects on the absurdity of such claims. They also touch on the broader implications of smokeless tobacco use, especially among athletes. Rodgers shares his perspective on how athletes often seek alternatives to smoking, and how the rise of nicotine pouches has created a new landscape for nicotine consumption. The discussion serves as a reminder of the ongoing battle between public health and personal choice, particularly in the context of sports and performance enhancement. The conversation takes a turn towards current events when Rogan and Rodgers discuss the arrest of a researcher who was allegedly attempting to smuggle frog embryos into the United States. They explore the implications of this incident, questioning the motivations behind her actions and the potential consequences she may face. Rodgers speculates that her research could have significant implications for cancer detection technology, raising questions about the intersection of science and national security. Rogan and Rodgers also discuss the broader context of scientific research and the challenges researchers face when navigating complex legal and ethical landscapes. They emphasize the importance of supporting scientific inquiry while also recognizing the potential risks associated with international research collaborations. This segment highlights the delicate balance between innovation and regulation in the scientific community. As the discussion shifts to California, Rogan and Rodgers share their frustrations with the state's current political climate. Rogan expresses his relief at having left California, while Rodgers reflects on the challenges of living in a state with strict regulations and high costs of living. They discuss the impact of these factors on personal freedom and the quality of life for residents. Rodgers shares his experiences living in Malibu, describing it as a beautiful place, but also acknowledging the challenges that come with it. They both agree that the state's policies can feel restrictive, particularly in terms of personal choices and freedoms. This segment serves as a critique of California's political landscape, highlighting the tension between government regulation and individual liberties. The conversation then transitions to the topic of governance, with Rogan and Rodgers discussing the importance of effective leadership during crises. They reflect on how certain states manage the COVID-19 pandemic better than others, emphasizing the role of good governance in protecting citizens' rights and freedoms. Rodgers argues that states that prioritized individual liberties and personal responsibility fared better in terms of public health outcomes. Rogan and Rodgers also touch on the need for transparency and accountability in government, particularly when it comes to public health decisions. They express their concerns about the potential for government overreach and the importance of maintaining a balance between public safety and personal freedoms. This discussion underscores the critical role of leadership in shaping public policy and the impact it has on citizens' lives. As the conversation continues, Rogan and Rodgers delve into the world of comedy, discussing its role as a form of social commentary. They reflect on how comedians have the unique ability to address controversial topics and challenge societal norms through humor. Rogan emphasizes the importance of allowing comedians to speak freely, even if their material is provocative or controversial. Rodgers shares his thoughts on the current state of comedy, noting that it has become more challenging for comedians to navigate the landscape of political correctness. They both agree that comedy should be a space for open dialogue and exploration of difficult subjects. This segment highlights the significance of comedy as a tool for social change and the need for comedians to push boundaries in order to foster meaningful conversations. The discussion then shifts to the influence of social media on public discourse and the dissemination of information. Rogan and Rodgers explore how platforms like Twitter and Instagram have changed the way people communicate and engage with one another. They discuss the challenges of navigating misinformation and the responsibility that comes with having a platform. Rodgers reflects on his own experiences with social media, noting that it can be both a blessing and a curse. He emphasizes the importance of critical thinking and discernment when consuming information online. As the conversation progresses, Rogan and Rodgers discuss the future of health and wellness, particularly in light of recent advancements in medical research. They explore the potential benefits of alternative treatments and the importance of considering holistic approaches to health. Rodgers shares his interest in exploring new therapies and treatments that prioritize overall well-being. Rogan and Rodgers also touch on the role of nutrition in health, emphasizing the need for individuals to take charge of their own health through informed dietary choices. They discuss the importance of education and awareness in promoting healthier lifestyles. This segment highlights the ongoing evolution of health and wellness and the need for individuals to be proactive in their pursuit of optimal health. The conversation takes a deeper dive into the challenges of modern politics, with Rogan and Rodgers discussing the polarization and divisiveness that characterize the current political landscape. They reflect on how this polarization has affected public discourse and the ability to engage in meaningful conversations about important issues. Rodgers expresses his frustration with the lack of bipartisanship and the tendency for politicians to prioritize party loyalty over the needs of their constituents. They both agree that there is a pressing need for more open dialogue and collaboration across party lines. As the conversation winds down, Rogan and Rodgers discuss the future of the UFC and the evolving landscape of mixed martial arts. They reflect on the growth of the sport and the increasing popularity of UFC events. Rodgers shares his excitement about the potential for new talent to emerge and the continued evolution of the sport. Rogan and Rodgers also touch on the importance of maintaining the integrity of the sport, particularly in light of recent controversies surrounding fighter safety and health. They emphasize the need for ongoing dialogue about the future of the UFC and the importance of prioritizing the well-being of athletes.